Today we're going to learn how to solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. So right here we have a quadratic equation, x squared minus 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. And in order to do this, we need to know what the quadratic formula is. If we see it here on the right, it says x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That 2a is beneath the entire numerator there. And of course we have to learn what is a, b, and c. And if we go back to our equation right here, we have x squared. It's like 1x squared. And that 1 is our a. This negative 4 is considered to be our b. And our last term, negative 1, is considered to be our c. So we know that, just to write it down over here, we know that a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 4, and c is equal to negative 1. So now we can substitute into our formula. So we know that in the end, x will be equal to negative b. b is a negative 4, so it's a negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is negative 4 squared, minus 4 times a, which is our 1, and our c, which is a negative 1. If we were to continue this, over, can't forget the denominator, 2 times a, which is 1 in this case. So if we were to continue, we know that a negative 4 is a positive 4. So we have 4 plus or minus the square root of now we know that negative 4 squared is 16. And we know that a negative 4 times a 1 is a negative 4 times a negative 1 is a positive 4. So we have 16 plus 4, because negative 4 times 1 times negative 1, negative is positive 4, over 2 times 1, which is 2. And just to continue this, we have x is equal to 4 plus or minus the square root of 20 over 2. And that is our solution. We could simplify it. What it really is saying is that our two roots are 4 plus the square root of 20 over 2 and 4 minus the square root of 20 over 2. And like I said, you could simplify the square root of 20. That's beyond the scope of this lesson. So those are our two roots. And we have just used the quadratic formula to solve this quadratic equation. So just to summarize, when you have a quadratic equation, what you want to do is determine which is a, b, and c. Notice in our case, we figured out our a, we figured out our b, we figured out our c. And then we simply substitute into our equation for a, b, and c, which is what we did in our second step. And then you continue simplifying until you have your answer. And now it's your turn. Solve these two quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Please refer to the screencast if you're having any trouble. And please note in the second problem there is one slight difference. The terms are not in the order of decreasing powers. So be very careful identifying the values of a, b, and c. Good luck and see you again next time.